Today on the channel, we break down the G.I. Joe Hasbro Fan Fest Friday reveal announcements. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another reveal video. And today it's a special one, G.I. Joe Classified Series. Near and dear to my heart, G.I. Joe, as most of you guys know that follow my videos. And if you're not following, what are you waiting for? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I love G.I. Joe going back to the early 80s when I was a kid collecting G.I. Joe, and I've never stopped my G.I. Joe passion since then. So I'm very excited. Anytime the Hasbro team has a live stream, I'm all in, I'm watching it, I'm taking notes, and we're going to talk about what we saw today and my thoughts, some anecdotes, and all that kind of fun conversation like we normally do have on the channel. It sounds like June is G.I. Joe month, and not a better month out there to pick as G.I. Joe month, as June is also my birthday month, June 25th. So I think they're doing this for me. They said, Kyle's a big G.I. Joe guy fan. Where should we put this G.I. Joe month? I know, let's make it his birthday month. So I appreciate that, Hasbro team. Thanks a lot for that. I love G.I. Joe, that's for sure. But they came out of the gates hot today. They came out with Roadblock, and a lot of people say, this is the Roadblock I wanted from the get-go. I didn't want that Cobra Island one. I didn't want that retread of kind of the second-tier Roadblock from the Real American Hero days. This is the Roadblock I wanted. I'm a little indifferent on that. I totally understand why the majority feels that way. I, as a kid, though, was always a fan of his second look in the cartoons. And that's kind of what we got based on the last Roadblock. The Shelf Warmer of the Year Roadblock, that one. We'll see how this Roadblock does, as it did go up for sale on Hasbro Pulse today and on Amazon.com. I have a feeling Roadblock will be fairly easy to get, but he is number 28 in the line for those of you keeping track at home. But like I said, most people are going to say, this is my Roadblock. Finally, I'm getting the Roadblock I always wanted. And we've talked about that in prior videos as well. This G.I. Joe Hasbro team seems to be going back. There was some flack from a lot of longtime fans out there saying it's too gimmicky, the colors aren't right, fix it. We saw Scarlet, Duke, Roadblock fixed with some of the coloring out there. And now I think they're really going back. And what we saw in these reveals today, we saw that the Hasbro team listens to the fans. A lot of people in the chat, especially, that chat is absolutely brutal, and we'll talk about that more later. They don't think they're listening to the fans. They're truly listening to the fans. You got to put your business hat on. You got to take that step back, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But Roadblock, this is the iconic Roadblock, and what most people think of when they close their eyes, that's what I always say. Close your eyes, what do you think of? This is the version of Roadblock you think of. With the camo, he's got the hat, the helmet, but then he's got his heavy-duty Gatling gun. A lot of people love that Gatling gun. They're very happy to see that in here. I think there's going to be just people overjoyed with this. It's almost like they're righting a wrong, because we got two Roadblocks before. People were like, I don't want that. I want this one we're getting now. My only negative, I think this is warranted. I like it. I'm buying it for sure. I like Roadblock. The biggest gripe I have with this, and I'm going to give my gripes, it's not all positive. How many characters are there in the G.I. Joe universe? We'll call it the universe. There's hundreds. And this is our fourth Roadblock when you count that repaint in there. That just seems a little crazy. Roadblock, I get it, he's a popular character, but so is, Shipwreck, and I mean, I could go on for days. I could list everybody. Nemesis Enforcer. Give me that Nemesis Enforcer. There's so many. Law and Order, Mutt Junkyard. I feel we'll get a lot of those, but it's just not going at a fast enough pace for my liking. Maybe I'm just over anxious, but I'm sure a lot of you people are in the same boat as me. Fourth Roadblock, and it just seems kind of strange. But here we are, we're getting a Roadblock. At least it's a Roadblock everybody's been screaming, wanting for. I think there'll be a lot of happy campers out there. And speaking of happy campers, once again, very similar to the Roadblock scenario, we got Snake Eyes. How many Snake Eyes have we had now? Is that 4? This will be the 4 Snake Eyes as well, I believe. We had the exclusive one. We had the regular series. We had the repaint. Now we have this one. I think that's 4, right? Am I forgetting one? Oh, my brain. I don't know. But we've had a lot of Snake Eyes as well. And for a guy like me, Snake Eyes wasn't G.I. Joe for me. Flint, Duke, General Hawk, Beachhead. That's my G.I. Joe. I've never really been a huge fan of the ninja elements of G.I. Joe. I respect it. I respect those ninjas out there. But he was never one of my favorite characters. But this is a cool, cool pack. That is for sure. Looks like it's numbered number 30 in the package of the Classified series. As you guys know, they're all numbered. Gripes on this one for me, once again, just like that Baroness cycle and some of the exclusives, the packaging sizes are different. If you're going to have a vehicle or a deluxe pack, they need to be numbered differently. I think they should have their own. Call the regular line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Call the vehicles A, B, C, D, or 1A, 1B. Do something to change that up because they do not display well together, which a lot of collectors like to do. It looks really weird when you got a box way out there, and that's what we're going to have, unfortunately, with the Snake Eyes and Timber. But once again, this is a lot of people's Snake Eyes. For me, this wasn't my most iconic Snake Eyes look. We got that in the regular series. When I think Snake Eyes, that's what I think of. But there's a lot of people that are a little older than me, and some my age, and in all ages, really, that really view this as Snake Eyes. This is Commando version of Snake Eyes with all the Uzis, all the other stuff. Not as much Ninja Snake Eyes as more Commando Snake Eyes. Great G.I. Joe story arc back in the day. This somewhat represents because it's Timber, and Timber is his wolf. Obviously, most of you guys know that. A lot of us G.I. Joe guys could not wait for a Timber to be released. We went to our nearest hobby stores, bought different ones. I was included in that. I got a Timber on my shelf that will be retired with this one. And the Timber is the game changer for this set for me. I love the inclusion of animals going back to when I was a little kid. There'd be new G.I. Joes at Toys R Us. I'd look them over and say, oh, wait a minute. This guy comes with an eagle. This guy comes with a parakeet. This guy comes with a dog. This guy comes with a fox. Whatever it may be. That's probably moving to the top of my list if I get an animal involved. And now we're getting a scaled, correct Timber. Sign me up all day long. I'll take 2, as you guys know. I love this Timber. Interchangeable heads on this thing. It just looks next level. I really feel like Timber, for me, stole a lot of thunder from the Snake Eyes figure. But I love that it's a deluxe pack. It's not just a cheap pack-in. There's a lot of articulation. This is like a 2-pack of figures, really. It's some deep articulation into the feet. The head sculpt changes. You can move the heads and pop the heads. Who's not going to use that dangerous, I'm going to kill you and eat you for dinner Timber face? That thing is next level. I love that they added the scar. They talked about it in the live stream that, you know, we wanted to add some character to Timber, and that's what they did. They put that scar on him. They're doing a lot of that. We saw that with my boy Flint. I wasn't totally opposed to it, but could Flint possibly be a werewolf? Could he be a skinwalker? For those that know what a skinwalker is. Maybe Timber and Flint are the same person. He changes into it. I don't know. When I saw that scar, I said, that looks like Flint's scar. I think it's the same eye and everything else. But like I said, that Timber, next level. I cannot wait to display that together with Snake Eyes. My only gripe, like I said earlier, was the box size. I don't like the bigger box. It doesn't stand and collect with the other ones. Maybe that's a minuscule gripe, but it drives me a little bit crazy. But talk about cool. Talk about cool with that Timber. Just next level. Next level. I love that pack. I was not expecting that. There was rumors we were getting another Snake Eyes, but nothing like this deluxe pack. Very similar to the Baroness Cobra Island figure we got. And speaking of Cobra Island, there's a segue for you. They announced that they are reissuing the Cobra Island figures. Once again, I hate to say I told you so, but I've been saying this for a long time. I know some people didn't believe me, some people don't, believe that kind of stuff, and everybody's got opinions out there, so I get it. Hey, why would you want to believe this random Kyle's opinion? But like I said, I work in the industry, not the toy industry, but I deal with Targets, I deal with Walmarts, and I have for a long career, so I understand the business. I always say at the end of the day, you could be selling hammers, you could be selling t-shirts, you could be selling toys, you could be selling food. It's all kind of the same. You're still dealing with the Targets, Walmarts of the world, so a lot of stuff carries over. And my business hat, I always say we got to put on our business hat. Why wouldn't they reissue these? The figures are made in such advance. It's not like food that's to the table and from the bakeries or wherever to the store. It's like a couple-week process, maybe even less than a week in some instances. Toys are a different animal. There's pre-orders, there's discussion. They got to go to China, factories be made. It's a much longer process than a lot of things out there. So Cobra Island was being released. G.I. Joe, as we always say, you got Marvel, you got Star Wars up here, G.I. Joe's down here. I hate to admit it, they're way up here for me. But for the average Joe, the average Target, Walmart consumer, buyer, I should say, in the office, they've seen, hey, G.I. Joe's, how many start and stop lines have you guys had over the years? Transformers, Star Wars, Marvel, constantly on the shelf, never not on the shelf. G.I. Joe start, stop, failed line, failed reissues. It just had a lot of issues. The best time for G.I. Joe in the last, gosh, how many years has it been? 15, 20, not 20 years, 15 years, let's call it, was the 25th anniversary stuff. That hit the nostalgia feels. That did very well at Toys R Us. Target, if you guys remember back to that time, a lot of clearances. Walmart, a lot of clearances. So some of these buyers are a little like, ooh, I don't know. They go to Target buyer and say, hey, we're going to give you these Cobra Island figures. They're a little tentative on this. They didn't order massive amounts. Well, guess what happened? COVID hit. Nobody expected that. So they had a bunch of amounts out there for what they felt was a good amount of collectors that were collecting. How many new people jumped into collecting? Ask yourself, some of you guys are probably new collectors, jumped in during COVID because you didn't have anything else to do. And you said, what makes me happy? What made me happy before I had to go on vacation? Stuff like that. It was collecting. And so a lot of people jumped into the G.I. Joe line that was totally unexpected. It's great for the G.I. Joe line, but we said before, toy industries is a ship that isn't easily turned. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to supply to catch up with the demand. And that's what we saw with the G.I. Joe Cobra Island. People were flipping out. People were going crazy. You're always going to have struggles. If you live in New York, you live in L.A., you live in Houston, you live in Chicago, guess what? No matter what, you're going to have trouble. There's just so much population there. You go to the Midwest, the 8 states I travel for the Midwest, if you're in stores on a regular basis, you can find anything. I hear from a lot of people, well, I go once a month. Well, if you go once a month, you're probably not going to find what you want. But you know what? If you have a local store and you go to it 3 or 4 times a week, most likely you're going to come through. But I said, you know, those big stores, yes, there's Target scalpers. Yes, that goes for every area. I understand the plight of the collector. I totally get it. And there's some stores, and I've heard from people that have managers buying stuff. Turn those people in. There's stuff you can do around that, but you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to deal with that. Go to a different Target. I know it sounds like it's real easy. There's always other circumstances out there. But long story short, Hasbro wants every dollar in your wallet. If you're fooling yourself, if they want scalpers out there and they want that, they want everybody to buy as much of their product. And that goes for t-shirts, that goes for food, that goes for everything. Nobody wants to have a product not able to sell. That it's a business. It's the toy business, as a great man once said, I think. So that is it. So these Cobra Island, hey, guess what? There's a lot of money on the table to be made. There's a lot of people that didn't get these. Guess what? We're going to reissue them. Times have caught up. And we've already seen that. I've seen that. I've seen over 20 major bloods in the stores. Even more when you add my dad on that, my wife on that. They're catching up. The supply is catching up. Flint, I've seen probably 40 Flints out there. I mean, Flint's not an exclusive like Cobra Island, but we're seeing supply catch up with demand. Maybe not your area, just like I said, you might live in a huge area, Chicago, Houston, these major cities, there's a lot of population there. But if you're talking average rural and average, Midwest, we're talking Minnesota, we're talking the Dakotas, we're talking Nebraska, Kansas, most of Illinois, I travel there too, Iowa, of course, Missouri, Arkansas, I mean, most of it. You just take out those huge cities, you're finding what you want with this stuff, and that's just the way it is going there right now. So we're seeing major blood, we're seeing these Joes hit the shelves. What's going to happen? COVID is all but gone, it feels like. Everybody, no masks anymore, all that. People planning vacations. I'm seeing it. You guys, maybe if you're, I'm really on top of this stuff, following Twitter, Instagram, Facebooks, groups. People are dumping collections at an alarming rate right now. I'm already seeing the start of it. I think it's going to keep going. A lot of new collectors jumped in. A lot of new collectors are jumping out now that, hey, I gotta pay for travel to go visit the in-laws. I got a vacation, whatever. Your incremental money going away. So we're seeing people jump out of collections. I'm a little worried that the supply, Hasbro, Target, oh my gosh, these are flying. We got to make all these extra figures. All of a sudden, it's going to swing the other way, and we're not going to have enough, or we're going to have too many figures out there, and we're going to start seeing some clearance. So very interesting, but don't forget for 1 minute that Hasbro, Mattel, whatever company it is, they want your money. Don't be fooling anybody. They got a lot of bills to pay. They want every penny you got. So they're going to reissue that stuff. So we're going to see the reissues coming. I feel bad for some of those scalpers. I feel bad for the people that spent crazy amounts on some of these Cobra Island exclusives. And now they're just going to be out there. But they did not say if they were going to do a subtle change or anything to make it change, or if it's going to be a straight reissue. So we'll have to stay tuned for that. So we'll see what happens along them lines. Getting back to the reveals. So next up, speaking of Cobra Island, they said, okay, here's our next Target exclusive Cobra Island figure, and it is BBQ. One of the classic Joes, the Firefighter Joe, really the worst kept secret, as we've known he's coming for a long time. There's been a lot of rumors for probably 6 months that BBQ was coming. I love this, and a lot of you should love this too, because this is an army builder for Cobra Island. I do feel we'll see the amounts of major blood in the store that we're seeing now. So just be careful. Don't go spending millions of dollars on a BBQ when you might be able to just get him very easily on the shelf. I'm not going to say it's going to be as easy as just showing up and he's there, but if you're hunting on a regular basis, you'll find BBQ at your Target. That's my guess. That's my guess right now. We'll see. And then I know a lot of you guys are probably happy it's not an army builder. So people only need one barbecue, or in my case, we need two. We need one to unbox and one to keep mint on card. So there's that going out there. But barbecue looks very stellar. Never was a huge barbecue fan. It's interesting he's going to Cobra Island, but we should have known when we saw those fires on the packaging. Who's going to put those fires out? Well, it's going to be barbecue. So there you go. And then I don't think we saw a number what barbecue is. And I say, just like the Snake Eyes, I wish the barbecue was listed differently. The Cobra Island figures should have been numbered differently, as they are store exclusives. That's my opinion. Or maybe no numbers on those. They could have done that. But a lot of people are going to be excited to get barbecue out there. And then the super exciting one, the one I wasn't aware of, and I didn't hear any rumors. Maybe my ear wasn't to the ground close enough. I don't know. But we got another Cobra Island, but it's a vehicle base, very similar to Baroness last year, and it's Breaker. A bit of a deep cut. You know, I was always a dial tone mainframe type guy, but Breaker was the OG. He was the start of that back in the day. A bit of a plain Jane figure back in the day, and a bit of a plain Jane figure now in the reveal pictures we saw. You know, he's got a really cool beard and haircut, though. I will give him that. But basically plain green, army green, but that's what he is, so that should come there. But he is dressed up, and a lot of the tooling and stuff is put with that Ram cycle. I loved the Ram cycle as a kid. I had it. I also had, I believe it was a Dreadnoks version that was it a Sears or JCPenney's exclusive? One of those. I had that as well. I love the Ram cycle. I love how it broke apart, and they showed the intricacies of the cycle. You could pull the gun off and use it as a straight up gun. I think that's really cool, and I'm glad we're getting some vehicles in the G.I. Joe line, because the characters are important to G.I. Joe, but in some cases, the vehicles are just as important. And we haven't got the big Tomahawks, the Night Ravens, the USS Flags. I don't know if we ever will, but we're getting at least some small things as they build the brand. I gotta think, you know, there's rumors of a Dr. Mindbender coming. I have to think maybe that'll be with a Trouble Bubble. That would be pretty cool. We'll see where it goes from there. But I really did like the look of this Breaker. I love the removable gun. I thought that was really cool. Just all around, really cool looking figure, and one that caught me by surprise. I hadn't heard any rumors of Breaker out there, so very, very cool to get Barbecue and Breaker in the Cobra Island, but I'm surprised we didn't get a bad guy, and maybe that's more to come, as they said, hey, the rest of June there's going to be announcements, there's going to be pre-orders. Be prepared is what they said. So I'm going to be prepared. Follow along on the channel, make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on social media, Twitter at SirPaul64, Instagram the _Kyle_Peterson, of course. But most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. A couple other notes, news and notes, and what they didn't tell us today. They did announce the retro line. We thought we might get some announcements for that Walmart 3 3/4 retro line announcements. Sounds like that's coming later in the summer, maybe possibly later this month. But be on the lookout for some more Walmart exclusives. Those are okay. They seem to really fly at first. Then there's usually a long gap. Then they get restocked. Right now, I could find those if I went to a bunch of my local Walmarts. I could find those sets if I needed to. So I don't know how hard they are, especially the vehicles. They're hard to get at first, and then they really start to load up in the majority of the areas I've been to. And we're talking Minnesota, Kansas City, Des Moines, Omaha. I've been to all those areas in the last 2 weeks, and I've seen that firsthand. So there's some larger cities. Nothing like Houston, Chicago, LA, New York. I get it, but it's still larger cities. One thing that was not announced today that I was very surprised was the Super 7. There's been a lot of strong rumors on the Reaction Super 7 figures. You know, they're doing Gem, they're doing Transformers, they're doing a ton of different properties out there. Rumor is G.I. Joe will be the next one. I could see that one being probably the hottest of the 3 3/4 Reaction. There's a lot of people that love G.I. Joe, and then if you put that card art, I've said it all the time in my G.I. Joe unboxings, you give that traditional card art, you give that classified blurb on the back, watch out, that is going to be a popular line. Probably not for me. I would pick up Flint and Nemesis Enforcer if they had that, but I will definitely get Flint in a Reaction line. I'm just not a big Reaction guy figure. It's all about that carding. I don't know where I'd put it. And my rule is, you know, if I can't have it on display, I don't need it. But what say you? I think there's a lot of people out there that will like that Super 7 line. That'll really hit some people in the nostalgia feels. It'll be funny. There'll be more Star Wars-like than G.I. Joe-like, but very cool with the artwork. I guarantee that. So I was surprised we didn't see that, but I think that's coming maybe later this month. Maybe they're going to bridge them out a little bit. We'll see. We also saw an RC Vamp. my expectations, I went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows on this thing. They showed it, then they demoed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is the way they could do vehicles. Make them RC, 2 different markets, but then have doors that open. You can put your figures in. You don't have to use it in RC if you want. You can use it as a part of your display. But then they showed Profit Director Destro sitting on the top of that vamp, and unfortunately you could see the size where it just wasn't going to scale. So I went from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows there. But hopefully we get some more vehicles. It's a good start with the Ram cycle, the Cobra Coil, I think Baroness's motorcycle was called. Let's see if we can get the Trouble Bubble. Let's see if we can get the Snake Armor. Let's see if we can get some of that other stuff, hopefully, in the future. So there it is, a pretty big day. Even though it didn't seem like a lot of announcements, it did seem like a big announcement day. So Roadblock hits a lot of people in the feels. Snake Eyes and Timber, that's the clear winner for me, and I'm not even the biggest Snake Eye fan, but that Timber, next level, have to have that. BBQ for Cobra Island, I feel he'll be a little easier than some of the past ones. And then the Breaker with Ram Cycle is the surprise of the day. I think this is a really cool pack. I could see people buying multiples of these because Breaker could be easily customized. You pop that head off, put a Duke head or something similar from another line, a Steve Rogers Marvel Legends head on there. You probably could turn yourself into a Grunt or some of these other figures out there. Or you could build a G.I. Joe kind of grunt army if you wanted to. So I can see people doing that. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple Ram cycles. There wasn't just one. There was many of those in the G.I. Joe universe. It's the universe, apparently. That's what I'm calling it. So very good. It was an interesting day. Cobra Island reissues, that was another big part of it. And like I said, Hasbro wants your money. Believe you me, they'll find a way. They'll eventually get there. It was kind of disappointing in the chat, but usually most chats are kind of negative. I understand that, but people got to remember it's a business. Why Target exclusives? It's a business. Target, they get paid extra money. It brings traffic to Target. That's how all retailers are. And once again, that goes with clothes. That goes with tools. That goes with food. Retailer exclusives are here to stay, and they're just going to get worse. I'm telling you guys, I deal with it every single day. Every retailer out there wants their own exclusive in any category. I guarantee you, I hear about it every single day in my real world job. So there you have it. A quick video, 20-minute video, a little longer, but this is my thoughts on the G.I. Joe reveals for today. Can't wait to see what else comes in June. Maybe they'll have a big surprise for my birthday on the 25th. Fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But there you go. For the G.I. Joe reveals, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.